हेलो गाइस, स्वागत है आपका कंटेंट मॉन्स्टर्स के एक और एपिसोड में। और आज के इस एपिसोड में हम रिव्यू कर रहे हैं फिल्म चुप रिवेंज ऑफ द आर्टिस्ट का।
So we have got a new kind of a serial killer जो स्टार देने वालों को स्टार दे रहा है, क्रिटिक्स का क्रिटिक।
ये फिल्म डायरेक्ट की है आर बाल्की ने और इसके मुख्य कलाकार हैं दुलकर सलमान, सनी देओल, पूजा भट्ट, श्रेया धनवंतरी, सारण्या पौनवनन और राजीव रविंद्रनाथन। अमिताभ बच्चन और अध्ययन सुमन ने इसमें स्पेशल अपीयरेंसेस दी हैं। अब क्या खास बात है चुप की? काफ़ी समय बाद बाल्की एक फिल्म डायरेक्ट कर रहे हैं एंड व्हाट वर्क्स फॉर दिस फिल्म एंड व्हाट डजंट। सबसे पहली बात तो आई थिंक पेपर पे एक कॉन्सेप्ट बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग है, विदाउट अ डाउट। अ सीरियल किलर ऑन द लूज हु इज मर्डरिंग फिल्म क्रिटिक्स एंड ओनली film critics. So clearly the film grabs your attention from the beginning as to why would a serial killer start ending up murdering only film critics.
A film is a director's baby. किसी के बच्चे का रेप कैसे कर सकता है यार?
Is he a producer or he is someone who's damaged because of some brutal rating that he has received from some of these critics in the past? Is he against this star system that critics are giving? Is he against talking about the box office success of the film and he wants the critics to be focused only on talking about the quality of the film and the performances? There are many questions in the audience's mind as to why someone would do this and who's the one doing it. In the case of this movie, it's not your typical whodunit, because very early on, almost towards the end of the first half, you're pretty much sure who the serial killer is. From then on, it's more about what is the purpose behind him indulging in these killings, and more so because towards the end of the first half he ends up murdering a critic who's also given the film a very, very good rating. So that keeps the audience on tenterhooks, at least in the first half. And the first half, I would say, is fairly racy. It's fairly interesting. It keeps you hooked. I think it's more in the second half, by which time the identity is already revealed, and it's more about the purpose of the killing, that the film tends to lose some steam, and more so in the end when you really come to know as to what could be the reasons for the serial killer to do this. Obviously, without revealing too much, it's more about his childhood, what he has gone through, the trauma he has gone through, and what impressions has that left on his mind. And then the fact that he himself made a movie which mirrored his own story, his childhood problems, and how he has suffered at the hands of his father, and how that film was brutally critiqued by the critics, and it sank without a trace. The serial killer has almost taken that as those critics making fun of his own life, and that has not gone down too well with him. He ends up in an asylum, though he comes out, but he's obviously left with a split personality because he also keeps talking to himself. Now, whether it's schizophrenia or something else is left up to the audience's imagination. But the reason as to why he's indulged in these murders maybe lets the film down a bit. The ending definitely could have been better. Also, I think the continuous linkages to Guru Dutt and the fact that the lead character almost convinces himself that he's actually taking a revenge for Guru Dutt, because Guru Dutt's own last film, Kagaz Ke Phool, was panned by the critics and the audiences, though it ended up as later on being known as his best piece of work.
गुरु दत्त
क्या गुरुदत्त? कागज के फूल? उनकी सबसे पर्सनल और बेस्ट फिल्म को क्रिटिक्स ने ट्रैश कर दिया।
So that also is a part that is playing on parallelly. I personally though think that while clearly Balki seems to be giving a tribute to Guru Dutt, but I personally think that Guru Dutt's legacy is more than just Kagaz Ke Phool. And I think to remember Guru Dutt only because of that one failure would be doing a huge, huge disservice to his legacy, which I think the film is doing. So I think that also doesn't work for me. But coming to the positives, I think it's so refreshing to see Sunny Deol in a completely different kind of role. He's playing his age. He's not screaming or shouting. The director seems to have used him very well, and Sunny Deol has given a brilliant performance. I think Sunny's usage and his role and his performances are all perfect. I think Dulquer Salman has done a brilliant job. His performance clearly is a revelation. Whether it's him playing someone mysterious or whether it's him playing a normal lover boy in some of those scenes with Shreya Dhanvantri. In every sequence, he fits the bill perfectly. Shreya Dhanvantri also, as an entertainment journalist who's also an aspiring critic and who dreams of falling in love exactly the way it's happened in the movies, I think she's done a very good job. She's very charming, and her camaraderie, her chemistry with Dulquer Salman is clearly one of the biggest highlights of the film. The other thing that I think works for the film is the way Bombay is captured, especially some of those bylines of Bandra during the monsoons. Bombay is shot very well, and I think the fact that Balki has been here all his life also kind of helps him do that. He's clearly romanticizing Bombay like no one else would. So I think these are clearly some of the positives of the film. And lastly, definitely the fact that this is a very interesting premise to start with. Someone, especially a serial killer on the loose, murdering film critics. I think that is a very interesting premise. So you have to give it to the team to at least try and attempt a new concept. For that, I think the team definitely deserves a thumbs up. But like I said earlier, the ending definitely could have been better. His reasons to do what he did could have been better. Like I said earlier, Guru Dutt's legacy is much, much beyond the one failure of Kagaz Ke Phool, and that is not something only that you would want to use to pay a tribute to him. And I think even the sequence where Sunny Deol is talking to all the movie critics about, not giving negative reviews for some time because he wants to nab the killer, and then how a fight ensues between the producers and the movie critics, that obviously looks like a farce because there is a very symbiotic relationship between movie producers and movie critics. The way that sequence has been shot makes it seem very, very childish. But barring some of these things, I would say this is still a fairly decent effort. It's definitely a one-time watch. I would give this film a rating of 6 on 10. This film also manages to get a cameo from Amitabh, wherein he's clearly espousing the virtues of having critics, of how it is important that they give unbiased opinion, that they have a very important role to play, because the rest of the film is more anti-critic. At one point of time, you almost wonder why is this film slanting towards being completely anti-critic. So that Amitabh Bachchan interview in the film tends to kind of balance the view that this film is anti-critic. So that's what we feel about the film. If you've seen the film, do let us know what you thought about it. If you like our review, please do subscribe to our channel and share our review with friends and family. For many, many more such reviews, we'll keep coming back. See you soon. Thank you.